It's Sports Madness with AJ Speier on 91.3 FM WBNY and I-95 Sports Network.
I'm not going to let our fans down. I am not going to do that. Okay? I know it's been, 15 years since the Bills made the playoffs. Well, get ready, man. We're going. We are going. And, guarantee, hey, am I going to guarantee a Super Bowl and all that? I tell you what I will do. I will guarantee the pursuit of it. There is no question about that. And, through work, through hard work, through preparation and all that, we're going to see how many teams match our work ethic and all that. Because as we look at it, we represent our community. The Buffalo Bills represent this community of Buffalo. We're going to be tough. We're going to be as loyal to our fans as they are to us. We are going to earn that loyalty and that trust. And one thing you're going to see, come September, this team will be ready, period. And that's it. That's going to be my statement. That's going to be my guarantee.
Hello and welcome to Sports Madness. I'm AJ Speier. Rex Ryan, the Buffalo Bills' new head coach. Last week on our show, I addressed how happy I was to see him come to the Buffalo Bills. He held a press conference on Wednesday, brought up some interesting points, but while the local media seems on board with this move, there were some national media members who had some interesting things to say about this. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some people out there who did support Rex Ryan going to the Bills. But there were other people out there who thought it was a terrible fit for him. He needs to go to a team that has a quarterback or an offense already in place, and that there's no way that the Bills could possibly have success here. So I'm going to play a little montage I created before the show. I call it the montage of Rex Ryan hate. I'm going to play it for you real quick. It features 4 media members. 3 of them are actually kind of my media idols, so this kind of hurts me to do this, but I kind of have to take a shot at them. Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Mike Francesa, 3 of the biggest names in radio or media, and also Bart Scott, a former teammate or player under Rex Ryan. I got to take a shot at them, but here's what they had to say about the move with Rex Ryan becoming the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
I got a lot of beef, a lot of flack from the Buffalo Bills fans. Like I said, I think he'd be going to the same situation in a worse city. Yesterday on Twitter, I put worse with a T. They got at me. Listen, the facts are the facts, man. He goes there. You got a quarterback that was benched last year. It's the same situation. Geno Smith, E.J. Manuel, great defense, solid running game. But it's the same situation. You still have to deal with Bill Belichick. I would hold out if I was Rex and hope for that Atlanta Falcons job because that's his opportunity to be a perennial winner and win a Super Bowl. No disrespect to Buffalo, but come on, man.
Why did he do it?
I mean, because money talks at the end of the day. And I'm hoping that, this presses Atlanta Falcons Arthur Blank to kind of, give him that call. I don't want to see my man in Buffalo, man.
You know what?
That don't look good with sweater vest, and I know you can't say it. Look, I know you can't say it because you played there, you made some money there, you was a great player there. But come on, man. Make the TV money, get the Jets money, still under contract.
He's a coach, though, man.
Man, I don't care, man. Listen, sometimes you have to sit out a year to get the blessing that you need. I mean, I don't see going to Buffalo being stuck there for 5 years. It's an unstable situation, new ownership group. You don't know what's going on there, man. Don't do it, Rex. Listen, they'll probably give him 20% off on Applebee's, but that's not enough.
Rex Ryan this morning stands and said, Colin, he's relatable. And I said, yeah, so are con men, so are salesmen, so's the devil. He's like you! Yeah! You hear Rex Ryan yesterday? No, I'm not calling Rex Ryan the devil, of course, but what I'm saying is Rex Ryan fools a lot of people, fools you. He tells you what you want to hear. Did you hear his Buffalo Bill press conference yesterday? It sounded just like his Jets press conference.
I'm not going to let our fans down.
Oh, yeah, because I'm one of you. I'm making $5 million. You're making $22,000. We're together.
We're going to give everything we have. That represents not just ourselves, but it represents our community.
Yeah, I'm one of you. Wings, beer. Just what Buffalo wanted to hear.
We're going to be as loyal to our fans as they are to us.
Yeah, shot at Doug Marrone. Be very careful about people who say what you want to hear. Be very, very wary of the I'm one of you people. Let's go have wings together. You and I got your back. No, tell me the truth. Our offense stinks. Tom Brady owns the division, and he's going to own it until he retires. And unless we get a quarterback, we can't win the Super Bowl.
I think it's a terrible move. personally, and I must admit, listening to him yesterday, he annoyed me. He really, really did. So I give him respect, but an 8-8, a 6-10, an 8-8, and then a 4-12 season, 4 consecutive years of missing the playoffs, and you walk up to a press conference with that kind of bravado. I mean, have you learned anything? I mean, my goodness. You just get so tired of him seemingly blowing smoke into the wind, to be quite honest with you. He's awful as an offensive mind. And when you look at the problem with the Buffalo Bills, what do you have? They're awful offensively. To me, the fact that he decided to go to Buffalo, you're asking for the same stuff. You're going to be in the same division as New England. You're going to continue to lose to them, while at the same time, you're going to struggle offensively because you don't have a quarterback to throw the football. That is the problem with Rex Ryan picking this job. It's the same job he left, and that's why I don't like it.
Got a great guy in Greg Roman. Greg Roman was being run out of San Francisco on a rail for the way he has handled that offense. And Kaepernick, they couldn't stand Greg Roman anymore. And Greg Roman was part of Jim Harbaugh's. Greg Roman didn't take the Niners to those wins. Jim Harbaugh, okay? And Greg Roman, who was the worst red zone play caller in the history of big-time games, you can have him. Good luck developing a quarterback with Rex and Greg Roman. It's the same situation. They have no quarterback, and they got coaches who don't know how to coach offense.
Ooh, that music gets me amped. Oh, I got some things I got to get off my chest today. Oh, I got some stuff to get off my chest. Oh, really? It was a terrible fit for the Bills, huh? Let's see. You did make some valid points. He did go to a similar situation. There is a question mark at quarterback. The Bills do have a good defense. They were 2 plays away from being 11-5. Why is this a bad decision? He goes to the 49ers. Yeah, they have some really good defensive pieces. They were injured this past season. The offense, Frank Gore is getting up there in age. You don't know if Michael Crabtree is going to come back. You don't know if Stevie Johnson is going to be the right fit for that offense. He's more of an option route receiver. But what really bothers me about this whole thing is that a guy can't leave one place where he was somewhat successful, 2 AFC Conference championships, and goes to another franchise which has better pieces there currently, and he can't have more success. He went 46-50 with the New York Jets, and I understand he had 4 losing seasons the past 2 years. Is that all Rex Ryan's fault, though? Or is it the offensive pieces he was given by both Mike Tannenbaum and John Idzik Jr.? It's the GM's fault. He needed to give him better pieces. Now let's go back to what the New York Jets were dealing with when Rex Ryan supposedly struggled and failed as the head coach, all right? In 2012, Darrelle Revis played just 2 games. They went 6-10. After that, they went with Dee Milner and Kyle Wilson. Both those guys turned out to be busts. Why they thought Kyle Wilson from Boise State was going to be a first-round draft-worthy cornerback is beyond me. Dee Milner came from a really good defense from Alabama, but if you've really looked at the Alabama prospects, other than a guy like Marcel Darius, you really haven't seen anybody really bloom. They're so good because they're a well-groomed unit. 11 guys in the field at Alabama. So you talk about what he had to deal with in terms of secondary, right? Rex Ryan defenses have been great through 6 years. Top 10 in 5 of them. Despite the fact that players have gotten older, they've went elsewhere, and he lost Darrelle Revis for arguably 3 years if you want to consider 2012 was only 2 games. So he's had success defensively for all 6 years. You look at the offense. Mark Sanchez struggles. Geno Smith struggles. Michael Vick struggles. Let's all blame it on Rex because he's the head coach of the team. It's all on the head coach. It's not on the GM. It's not on the offensive coordinator. Let's all blame it on Rex Ryan. I'm going to tell you why it was Mike Tannenbaum and John Idzik's fault, all right? His first year on the job, you know who his best receivers were? Jericho Cotchery, Braylon Edwards, and their leading receiver/tight end was Dustin Keller. What is he doing now? He went to the Miami Dolphins for a year, got his knee injured, and hasn't been able to do anything since. After that, they got Santonio Holmes at the worst part of his career. Yeah, he had success with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He goes to the Jets and at first has success, then he deals with injury after injury. Then they get 34-year-old Plaxico Burress, 37-year-old Derek Mason. And then for 2 years, their best receiver is Jeremy Curley before signing Eric Decker to a ridiculous contract. But let's all put it on Rex Ryan because he's great on defense, but he can't figure it out on offense. Here's an idea. Why don't you complain about Mike Tannenbaum and their other GM, John Idzik, who were complete idiots and didn't provide him with what he needed on offense? They didn't even give him shutdown corners. They gambled on first round. They said, oh, this is the top cornerback in the draft. Let's take him up and see what happens. And as a result, Rex Ryan's defense has struggled. They didn't identify what he needed. Obviously, Geno Smith, it was a weak quarterback draft. We don't even know if E.J. Mayo is going to pan out yet, but I'll get to him later. You're going to tell me that a guy with his track record of defenses can't thrive with the talent they have here in Buffalo. 3 Pro Bowl defensive linemen the last 2 years. Kyle Williams, Marcel Darius, Mario Williams. And you're going to tell me that he can't thrive with this defense. You have Kiko Alonso, who was a Rookie of the Year candidate just a year ago, coming back from injury. Preston Brown looked pretty good last year. Those are probably going to be your 2 inside linebackers this year, unless Rex Ryan's more of a hybrid. He could do any kind of formation out there kind of defense. Nigel Bradham had a good season last year. The Bills' secondary improved. Leos McKelvin got injured, and he didn't even miss a beat. Corey Graham showed he could be a starting caliber cornerback when given the opportunity once the Bills got smart enough to stop rotating their corners. Stephon Gilmore, when he's not wearing a club, is a pretty good cornerback. They lost Jarris Byrd. They had Aaron Williams and Denoris Stursey step up, and they had an amazing season. Over the past 2 years, this defense has led the league in sacks, 111 sacks. And now they just got the best defensive caliber coach. But they're doomed to fail because the offense is a huge problem. And let me address that real quickly, too. Greg Roman. It was all the Jim Harbaugh show there. Really? That's why Greg Roman was the one calling the plays. That's why he's the one who constantly during the offseason is going over the playbook, looking at film, trying to figure out different creative and unique ways to challenge other teams. Yes, this past season they struggled. But in the first 3 years, the 49ers went to the NFC Conference Championship. And you're going to tell me that the Bills made a terrible decision hiring Greg Roman. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Just because last season, Colin Kaepernick couldn't handle a little extra pressure on him as a passer, all of a sudden this is a terrible move for the Bills? No, let me take it back a year when the Bills were one of the top running offenses in the league, in terms of attempts at least. Under Chan Gailey, they had the best rushing attack in the NFL. Yes, they have holes to address on offense. There's an offseason coming. What you see right now is not what's going to be there next season. This is ridiculous. This is a complete joke. You guys got to do your homework, whether it be local media or national media. Understand, the Bills don't have many holes on defense. Yes, Jerry Hughes is a free agent. Yes, Brandon Spikes is a free agent. Yes, Denoris Stursey is a free agent. Only one of them is going to be really pricey, and the Bills can replace him because they have the best defensive coach in all football on their team. You go to offense now with Greg Roman, a guy who had shown success with Frank Gore, who was going into age 31 this past season. Yes, let's continue to feed the guy who's over 30 years old. What is it everyone always says? When you hit age 30, running backs start to decline. That's why they drafted Carlos Hyde. But before we go into why the offense struggled this past season, let me point out some things for you. The Niners knew last season was going to be a bad season. They went into the season with Navarro Bowman after that significant knee injury in the NFC Conference Championship game the year before. He had a knee injury. Glenn Dorsey had a biceps injury. He's a key defensive lineman, the nose tackle. You lose Patrick Willis during the middle of the season with a big toe injury. You have suspensions to Alden Smith with a DUI, Ray McDonald with domestic violence. Their cornerbacks got worse. Terrell Brown ended up going to Oakland. And you're going to sit here and tell me that the Bills made a terrible decision hiring Rex Ryan and Greg Roman. That offense was good enough to propel or gel with that defense and get them to the NFC Conference Championship 3 times. 3. This past season, the offensive line was terrible because they had to compensate for all the injuries on defense. They had to pass more. They knew if they wanted to win games, they were going to have to score more points. You're not going to do that by running the ball and game managing the entire time. So why did they change their philosophy to passing the ball more? Well, let's see. Colin Kaepernick, in the short spurt that he had been in the NFL, had shown he could have success. So they figured, why not let's open up it a little bit more? But the problem is, he didn't realize his personnel was not good at pass blocking. And when I'm saying about they're not good at pass blocking, I'm referring to 3 offensive linemen: Marcus Martin, Alex Boone, Anthony Davis. They do have 2 Pro Bowl caliber linemen in Joe Staley and Mike Iupati, but that wasn't good enough. Their offensive line got exposed this past season when they had to pass. They're not a good pass-blocking team. They have to run the ball more. But when you have a running back who is 31 years old, you can't run the ball as often because you need to help him rest. He got over 1,000 yards still, so I have no problem with that. My problem is people are failing to realize why the 49ers struggled. What is the hardest division in all of football? The NFC West. Who's in the Super Bowl coming up? The Seattle Seahawks, who would have been challenging for the Super Bowl had it not been for a quarterback injury, the Arizona Cardinals. But yes, let's blame it all on Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh and say it was their fault. No, this is a great move for the Bills. And I understand, you look at the wide receivers that the Niners had. Brandon Lloyd's getting older. Stevie Johnson, probably not a good fit for that team because he likes to be an option route receiver. Michael Crabtree, limited. Anquan Bolden, possession receiver. Vernon Davis, he just seems to be regressing, whether it be from injury or who knows what it be. But that team was a complete mess. You're giving Greg Roman a new start with the Buffalo Bills, who could theoretically be the same kind of team that the Niners were. Think about it. Rex Ryan coaching that defense, which was already among the top in turnovers, third down percentages, red zone efficiency, sacks. Yeah, this is a terrible move. You know what? Here's what to say about this. Rex Ryan did nothing wrong at his press conference either. When you're a new man at a new job, you need to win people over. You can't have people hating you from day one. So I have no problem with what he said. And the thing that really struck out to me is that he said that this is his last shot as a head coach. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. That implies he has a chip on his shoulder. That implies that he was embarrassed after getting fired with the New York Jets. Yes, he realizes he didn't have the parts. But still, having a below 500 record is embarrassing to Rex Ryan. He has pride. I like that. Should I not like that? Should he tell me that the Bills are going to be 500 next season? No, because they were 9-7 this past season with mediocre coaching. Now they have a genius coming in on defense, and they have arguably one of the best offensive coordinators in all of football coming in to coach their staff. Had it not been for the Niners being so successful for those 3 years, he might have ended up being a head coach. He had one bad season. All of a sudden, the Bills make a terrible decision. And let me get started on E.J. Manuel, too. Because people seem to think that his entire career is a bust. And I don't look at it that way. He played 14 games as a starter. He lasted 5 straight games his rookie season. That's the most he's played in a row. How on earth are you going to call this guy a bust? You haven't even given him a full season, let alone the right coaching staff. We find out after the season from Fred Jackson that Nathaniel Hackett is an aggressive mind. Doug Marrone was a conservative mind. So there might have been different voices inside E.J. Manuel's head. That doesn't help a rookie out. And let's also talk about what the Bills' strategy was when E.J. Manuel first got here, all right? The Bills had Kevin Cobb on the roster. He got injured. Because they had no other options to back him up besides Thad Lewis and Matt Leinart, who just flamed out, E.J. Manuel was forced into action. And if you remember his rookie season, when E.J. Manuel went down, they had to go with Thad Lewis and Jeff Tuitt at quarterback, and they struggled as a result. So they go into the second season, and Whaley, this is the one mistake that he really made, goes in there thinking, well, Thad Lewis looked pretty good last season, which is a complete lie. And he thinks, you know what, I can handle this. Thad Lewis, Jeff Tuitt, they'll be perfect competition for EJ. No, you need to push your rookie. He needs to earn that job. Nobody should ever be handed anything. So, E.J. Manuel going to his third season. He's got a decent offensive coordinator now. The Bills are going to focus on offense in the offseason. But it's a terrible decision for Rex Ryan, right? I shouldn't believe anything he says in the press conference. The part where he mentions he wants to build a bully. And it means he understands the importance of an offensive line. He wants this team to be aggressive, intimidating. What is wrong with what he said? Should I not believe that? When I watched the New York Jets, you know who the one team that I didn't want to play ever? The New York Jets defense. Why? Because they're so confusing on defenses. Their schemes, their personnel. They just change it up over and over again. They make adjustments. He's one of the best coaches there. I love this fit for the Bills. You take that talent that they had in the wide nine under Jim Schwartz, and you put it with that coach, oh my God, it's going to be amazing next year. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady for a half. 10 quarters, no touchdowns allowed to the best quarterbacks in the game. But I should feel like this is doomed for failure, right? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did you guys not do your homework going into it? You thought, oh, this is the Rex Ryan from the 4 years from before. Do your homework. The Bills have talent. They have a good wide receiver in Sammy Watkins. They have another good receiver in Robert Woods. If they had a better offensive line, they would have had success last year, whether it be Kyle Orton or E.J. Manuel under center. They had a franchise low in rushing yards this past season. C.J. Spiller went down with an injury. The collarbone. Fred Jackson. He had a groin injury he was trying to battle through. Anthony Dixon had never been a starting running back. Bryce Brown was inactive for most of the season. If the Bills had better offensive line play, this whole team would have been better. They would have been a playoff team and maybe even challenged for the Super Bowl. And I don't think it's so far-fetched to say that the Bills could end up being a Super Bowl winning team or caliber team next year. Especially if you get an upgrade at quarterback play from E.J. Manuel, which we all think could happen. It just boggles my mind how people can just say, oh, the Bills haven't made the playoffs for 15 years, so why should we believe they are now? Eventually, streaks end. Rex Ryan's going to be the guy to end the streak. He inherited a talented team. Yes, they have holes. Does that mean Whaley's not going to address them this offseason? The defense is amazing. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a fourth-round pick. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you could either trade for players or sign free agents. So yes, this is completely doomed for failure, right? No. This team is going to be among the best next year. They might even challenge for the division. Tom Brady's going to be 38 years old. You're telling me that he can keep this up? Rob Gronkowski is their biggest threat. Stephon Gilmore can check Julian Edelman. Patriots have work to do this offseason. They need to re-sign some players themselves. Darrelle Revis is going to be a free agent. Are they going to bring him back? What about Brandon Browner? Those are the big concerns. Vince Wilfork, can he keep this up? He's in his 30s. No, the time is now for the Bills. The time is now for them to compete for a championship. Denver Broncos, they have a lot of holes this upcoming offseason. Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, just a few names to mention that are going to be free agents. But I should feel like my team made the wrong decision hiring Rex Ryan, or he made the wrong decision coming here. You wanted him to go to San Fran. You know how tough it's going to be to compete with Arizona and Seattle the next few years? You want him to go to Atlanta. You're telling me you want him to compete with Drew Brees? Yes, he's given him problems in the past, but that's a pretty good team. Carolina's going to get better when they get better receivers. Tampa Bay has the top pick in the draft. They're going to get a good quarterback. I think the Bills are the perfect spot for him. The Jets have a lot of work to do. The Miami Dolphins have a lot of work to do. The Patriots are getting older. The time is now. Rex Ryan took the right destination. He's getting paid well, too. $5.5 million. And so what? So what if he's getting paid more than me? Doesn't mean he can't relate to us. The guy was born in Toronto. He spent 8 years there because his father was coaching in the NFL and his mother was in Toronto. 8 years there. He does feel some connection to the Bills fans because he used to go to games. You would have known that if you listened to the whole press conference. What I really love about Rex Ryan, his adaptability. He doesn't have one-step philosophy. He changes it constantly. Gives his opponents problems. They have a hard time preparing for him. And now he's got talent. This team is going to compete for the Super Bowl next year. Believe that. Trust in Doug Whaley. Doug Whaley knows there's holes in the offense. You saw what he did for this defense. You saw how much better they got because of him. Bringing in a guy like Brandon Spikes for that low of a contract. Corey Graham seems like a bargain at this point. A lot of good moves on the defense. Yes, he needs to get better on the offense, but he learns from his mistakes. Chris Williams was a big mistake. He can make up for it. He can go out and sign 2 guards. Eric Pierce is going to be a free agent. You know they're going to go out and sign a guard. They're not going to rely on just younger players and expect them to get better. Yes, they need to be taught technique. Beat guys at certain positions. There's no reason this team can't win the Super Bowl or compete for the Super Bowl next year. No reason. 9-7, they were held back by 2 bad coaches in Doug Marrone and Nathaniel Hackett. Although maybe I'm placing too much blame on Nathaniel Hackett because apparently Doug Marrone just oversaw everything and just ruined the Bills completely. We all know they were talented on defense the last 2 years. We all know the offense has taken a hit because of conservative coaching, whether it be fourth down decisions or deciding to run the ball too often or whatever it be. Yes, there's been times where E.J. Manuel has decided to check down too often. I'm upset about it too. I understand completely where Bills fans' heads are at right now. But to say that the Bills are not a good fit for Rex Ryan when he's had proven success with defense is just stupid. The Bears were 32nd in defense last year. You know how many parts they're going to need to bring on that team? How many man-to-man cover corners they're going to need to bring on that team? Yes, put Rex Ryan there because they have Jay Cutler and good weapons on offense. Doesn't guarantee success. I want Rex Ryan where he's comfortable. He has talent. He's going to get the most out of him, and the Bills are going to be a nightmare for teams to play in the future. And now you have a good offensive coordinator who has shown the ability to be a game-managing offense with ground and pound if they need to be, or he can get more out of E.J. Manuel. Yes, Colin Kaepernick was sacked 52 times last year. His offensive line was bad. The Bills will address that. E.J. Manuel spent 12 games on the sideline last year. That wouldn't bug you? If you were fired from your job or had to watch somebody else take your job, how would that make you feel? You'd be pretty angry too. You'd probably do everything in your power to go and get that job back. I believe in this team. I believe E.J. Manuel will be better. I believe he'll be motivated like no other this offseason. Yes, the Bills will add another quarterback. Who on earth do you think they're going to get? The top quarterback out there is either Matt Moore, Mark Sanchez, or somebody else who's going to be a backup quarterback. You're not getting Jay Cutler. You're not getting Sam Bradford. You're not getting Nick Foles. So everybody just relax on the whole quarterback situation, all right? It's not happening. E.J. Manuel is going to be the starter next year, and the Bills, if for whatever reason E.J. Manuel doesn't pan out, they have a first-round pick in 2016. Why can't they use that? They can. So everybody just chill out. Expectations are low here. All Bills fans want this upcoming season is to end the drought. I think they're better than that. I think that they'll make it to the AFC Conference Championship game. To be quite honest with you, I really do. I really believe that Doug Whaley is going to make the right moves on offense. But you know how it is. The Bills haven't made the playoffs for 15 years. Why are you going to figure it out now? The one thing that I really liked about the press conference is how they were talking about sharing a vision. It seems like everyone's on the same page, and it works. And when that happens, it's going to work to the Bills' benefit. When everyone shares one vision, one philosophy, adapt to your opponent. Target their weaknesses. Use your players' strengths. That's what you want. Disguise your looks. Be unpredictable. Teams can't get a good read on you. You're going to have success on them. Attack them out of nowhere. They're going to be a different team this upcoming season. Fred Jackson said Hackett was aggressive. Marrone was conservative. That sends a mixed message to the team on offense. Now they have one philosophy. You know what Rex Ryan likes. He likes ground and pound. And yes, he acknowledges Sammy Watkins, a guy you invested 2 first-round picks in. He's going to be a focal point of the offense. You're probably going to see more screens this year. You're probably going to see the Bills take more shots down the field because play action is going to be available now if they can get the run game going, which should happen because they'll have better offensive linemen. This is not the same team from the last 2 years. This is going to be a different team. There's a different mentality surrounding this team. The vision is there. You just brought in a guy who's not afraid of anybody. He's went to 2 AFC Conference championships with Mark Sanchez, and now he's got talent on defense. And now he's got an offensive coordinator who went to 3 NFC Conference championships. This is doomed for failure, though. It's a terrible move for Rex Ryan. Are you kidding me? Tell me who, besides doing the Patriots next year, poses a threat in the AFC. The Indianapolis Colts? Oh, wow, they made it to the conference championship game because Peyton Manning has regressed. He's losing weapons. Who in the AFC North scares you? Baltimore? Pittsburgh? Cleveland doesn't. They don't even know who their quarterback's going to be next year. Johnny Football? Are you kidding me? Cincinnati can't win any playoff games with Andy Dalton. The AFC South is a complete joke. Houston's not going to do it. Jacksonville's not going to do it. Neither's Tennessee. So then you go to the AFC West. Kansas City, they're always around 500. They can never get over the hump. San Diego, they have a lot of pieces they need to fill there. They do have a good quarterback in Phillip Rivers, but they need to add some pieces. So when I go into next season, I honestly believe the Bills are going to make the playoffs, and I believe they're going to contend for a championship. And I'll get to all that and more up next on Sports Madness.